Welcome to the Princh Library Lounge. I'm your host, Vicky Warbarn, and I'm joining you from the Princh headquarters in Aarhus, Denmark. Here on the Princh Library Lounge, we have insightful conversations with library professionals from around the world, where they will share their thoughts on topics that are important and impactful to the library community. We hope you enjoy the episode, so let's get to it. The Princh Library Lounge is brought to you by Princh, the preferred printing solution in Scandinavia. Princh is a user-friendly printing solution made for libraries with libraries. Check out princh.com for more details.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for episode 5 of the Princh Library Lounge. I am your host, Marc Lapointe. Today on the Princh Library Lounge, I'll be discussing digital development and libraries with our guests Pamela, Tulloch and Lindsay Henderson. Thanks again to you both for joining the Princh Library Lounge today. And before we begin discussing digital development, can we start by having you both introduce yourselves? For our listeners, Pamela, would you like to start?
Yeah. My name's Pamela Tulloch and I'm Chief Executive of the Scottish Library and Information Council, which is affectionately known as SLIC. SLIC was established in 1991 to be the independent advisory body to the Scottish Parliament in all things libraries. I've been in the current role for 3.5 years and have an extensive background working in libraries, mainly public libraries, and have held senior management positions both in Glasgow and Dundee libraries in Scotland. SLIC was involved in developing Scotland's first public library strategy, Ambition and Opportunity, which has been reimagined this year and has reinvigorated the public library offer in Scotland.
Awesome, thank you. And Lindsay, what about yourself?
Hi, I'm Lindsay Henderson. I'm Head of Programme at SLIC. Our current programmes include turning underused public library spaces into co-working hubs and supporting libraries to ensure that every child is a library member. Before joining SLIC, I've held various posts in public libraries in South East Scotland, most recently developing strategies for digital and physical resource use.
Thank you both for the intros. And now just to jump into our discussion, I think in any discussion regarding digital development, digital literacy will be brought up. So to start, can you speak on the importance of digital literacy for people today?
Well, I think it goes without saying that now in 2019 we live in a world which is increasingly becoming digital by default. So for people to be able to navigate that world, digital literacy is absolutely essential. And I think what we're seeing sadly is that we have a very digital savvy part of the population, but equally we have people who are becoming ever increasingly excluded through the kind of digital developments that we've experienced over the last 5-10 years. So, it really is important that we in libraries help people navigate the digital world and feel confident in it. And that takes many shapes and forms. I don't know, Lindsay, if you want to add anything to that.
I think it plays such a major part in sort of every section of people's lives. So not only does it affect their employment, but it affects how they can get the best deals in terms of finance. So, if people are looking to change their utilities, they need to be able to do that online now. So I think as well as giving you opportunities and the leisure and fun that it brings, it also means that you're incredibly digitally financially excluded. If you're not digitally literate now, and to ensure that people have got access to properly fulfilled lives, that they need to be digitally literate.
I think that's exactly right. Off of that, I guess just transitioning to a question that's commonly followed up by that is, what barriers or what common barriers are you seeing to prevent people from getting digital skills or getting digital literacy or becoming digitally literate? Pamela, would you like to start on that one?
Yeah, I think there's a range of barriers. I think fundamentally, sadly, do still have large sections of the population who are not confidently literate people, with basic literacy. So obviously, if you don't have those underpinning literacy levels, then you're going to really struggle in a digital world, which obviously is built on having basic literacy. So I think being a confident literate person is one of the first barriers. But I think to just there's I suppose you have to be in a certain economic group to be able to access the digital world. We still have large parts of the population here in Scotland where there is, limited broadband access. So, for rural parts of the country, actually having the opportunity to participate in the digital world can still be quite a challenge. So, and once you've overcome those challenges, you then need to understand how the digital world works. And you need to be able to navigate it effectively and safely. And for a lot of people, they might have all the devices, but they still don't actually have the skills that makes it safe for them to navigate the digital world. And we know, for example, a lot of young people have got all the devices, and you would naturally assume that they are digitally literate. But we know when, from speaking to colleagues that work in university libraries, that a lot of young people starting out in their academic careers don't yet have those basic information literacy skills, which will see them through their studies. And that is a real concern, because increasingly in the academic world, all the kind of research materials are available online, so young people need to be able to access those in a confident way to actually complete their studies. And then you go beyond that into the world of employment, and again, people need to be able to understand what they're doing digitally, to make sure that the way they represent their employer is a safe, it's in a safe and secure way. So I think employers now increasingly are looking at tools like Cyber Essentials and wanting to put their teams through that kind of process to ensure that their own staff are confident in the digital world. So we've almost gone beyond actually being able to work digital equipment such as laptops, tablets, mobile phones, and actually looking more now at the content and how people access it, and how they know what they're accessing is bona fide, and how they present themselves digitally as safe.
And Lindsay, what are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of people now feel they've potentially missed the boat, that if they don't have digital skills now, they should have them already, and they're perhaps feeling quite underconfident and quite embarrassed by their lack of skills. So it's a lot more difficult for them to present themselves to those who can help them to gain the skills that they need. I think that's certainly a role that libraries have to play, that if people are going to feel underconfident, the place that they might potentially come is to a library. So I suppose that's a role that we have to play.
I think libraries do provide that trusted, safe space. They've always been the place that people feel confident asking the question that they might not be confident asking in a different environment. And obviously, a number of libraries are putting on classes to support people, improve their digital skills, but also doing things in a perhaps less formal way, by having drop-in sessions, maker spaces. We're seeing, a lot of activity taking place in a more fun-orientated way, that actually it's helping build people's confidence to use and access the world in a digital environment.
Yeah, I think there's been some really interesting research carried out recently by the Carnegie UK Trust, where around 70% of Scottish people were seen to find libraries as being a place that was kind. And I think in terms of the digital literacy skills gap, that's really important, that people can access a place where they feel they're going to be treated with kindness to address some of these issues that they feel are quite sensitive, perhaps.
I think the libraries play a very big role in the digital development, and I think we can dive into that a little bit more in a second. But first, I just wanted to highlight some of the points. There is, I think, Pamela, you were saying one of the assumptions is that the younger generation does have it all figured out in regards to digital development. So I think the point you brought up is one that we should echo a bit, that that's not a blanket statement. That's not all young people, that there is a gap there, and that some people do need that extra training or help, and that's where libraries can come in. So you both kind of touched on the importance or the role the library is playing, but I was wondering if we can kind of just talk about it a bit more, and for both of you, what your thought is on what the role the library plays specifically into digital development.
I think libraries, have always been that trusted, safe space. And I think, we're really, really fortunate, certainly here in Scotland and in the UK, that the government has invested in the digital infrastructure through the library network. And we've seen a number of really the groundbreaking projects happening in libraries, certainly in Scotland, over the last 4 or 5 years on the back of the national strategy, which I touched on earlier. So we've seen things like 3D printers roll out to all public library services. And, I've been blown away by the creative way that library staff have used the 3D printers to engage the public with new technology and what it can mean for them and how they can use it. Similarly, we rolled out code clubs across libraries in Scotland to encourage children and young people to get into coding, and the demand for that has been phenomenal. So not only have the library staff risen to the challenge of being able to help the public learn to code, but children and young people have really seen the library as that go-to place. And I'll let Lindsay speak about some of the other projects that she's been leading on, which are helping people with their digital needs. But I think for me, one of the real projects that we rolled out probably 3-4 years ago now was looking at training in new technologies for library staff. And this was really so that the public could bring in their own devices and ask library staff for help. And I think that's been, a real boon for people at a local level, because as you know, if you get a new piece of kit and you're playing about with it and you're not quite sure how it works, it's great having a manual, but it's much, much easier and much, much more helpful and reassuring if you've got somebody you can ask, how do I do this with it, how do I do that with it? And I think libraries have really risen to the challenge there, and we've seen some library services in Scotland actually recruit digi-volunteers to have that kind of peer support for members of the public who are looking to build their confidence with their own digital devices. But Lindsay, I'll hand over to you to chat a bit more about some of the bespoke programmes that have been delivered through libraries.
Yeah, I think the library offer is kind of on a continuum from the very basic skills up to actually developing a sort of digitally mature nation. One of the most important things that we provide is, there's blanket Wi-Fi coverage now across Scotland. 100% of libraries give free access to Wi-Fi, and I think that's certainly really important for those that are on lower incomes and those that are struggling with digital. It's a place that they can come where they don't have to pay anything financially to start their journey and get a bit of experience. And I think that's been really important in terms of the bring your own device. We can support people to come into libraries and use the computers that are in front of them, but they quite often find it really difficult to transfer those skills onto different devices. So at the most basic provision, it would be supporting people to use their own devices and use it in a safe environment where they can ask questions, and staff will do their very best to answer them for them to raise their confidence. And then, as Pamela's kind of touched upon, it goes right through that continuum from the coding and the teaching children skills we're going to require for the future. We know that there's going to be a significant skills gap. It's here already, and it's only going to grow bigger as time goes on. So we know that we're going to require about 13,000 people every year in the workforce, 13,000 people year on year from now, to support the digital economy, and we're well short on those numbers already, and it's only going to get shorter if we don't start to bridge that gap. And we know that extracurricular coding is such an important factor in encouraging young people, especially females, into STEM subjects, and we're going to require them to keep our digital economy going. So that's a really important area for support at the moment. And as Pamela said, around the experimental nature, we've trained staff right across Scotland to deliver 3D printing projects, which was kind of the first emerging technology that SLIC and Scottish Libraries got involved in as a national project, and we're now looking to do the same around virtual reality and allowing people to have experiences of virtual reality within libraries, whether that is through national programmes or whether that's supporting libraries through funding to develop their own virtual reality projects. And then right at the other side, we've been taking some underused spaces in Scottish libraries and turning them into co-working hubs, which is a project that's been funded by the Scottish Government. and this is to help and encourage businesses to become digitally mature. So where we've got people coming in to use our Wi-Fi and use their most basic devices, we're also starting to offer that support at the complete opposite end of the scale, where people are very much digitally literate. They're in a position where they've been able to launch their own businesses, and we're giving them space to work and to collaborate, and supporting them through employability support and networking support, with the mission that those businesses will become digitally mature within libraries and within underused spaces. So I think libraries have got such a major role to play in digital skills development right across the board, and by ensuring that staff are confident digitally, that really plays into ensuring that we have a really well-rounded and robust offer, so that it offers something digitally for people that are at all different levels of digital skills.
That's dead on, and I think you guys went into a couple points about SLIC, or Scottish Librarian Information Council, that I think our listeners would like to know more about. So I think with that, can we transition and maybe have you guys speak on a little bit of what SLIC is and what the goal is, and how you've helped with digital development in libraries? I know, Lindsay, you just touched on a couple points, but I think when our listeners hear this, they're going to want to know a little bit more about SLIC and what they do. So with that, I think maybe we can dive into a little bit about what SLIC is.
Yeah, certainly. As I mentioned, the Scottish Library Information Council, affectionately known as SLIC, is the independent advisory body to the Scottish Government in all library and information related matters. But we're also a membership organisation, so most of all public library services, certainly all the university libraries, and a number of other FE, health, prison libraries, school libraries, etc., are members of SLIC. So we cover a more or less a universal library offer in Scotland, and we advocate on that basis. Our mission statement and what underpins everything that we do is enriching lives through libraries. So for people who have come across us, they will have seen that strap line on various bits of literature that we produce. We also lead on the implementation of Scotland's public library strategy and of Scotland's school library strategies. These are both national strategies that have been endorsed by the Scottish Government and the Convention of Scottish Local Authorities Scotland, COSLA, whose members are responsible for directly delivering public and school library services. So what we as an organisation look for are obviously opportunities for our members. We are speaking to the Scottish Government about a number of initiatives that we feel would further the cause, if you like, of the public library offer in Scotland and school library offer in Scotland. And obviously, information literacy and digital literacy, and increasingly meta literacies, as we call them: traditional literacy, digital literacy, information literacy, media literacy, health literacy, and so on, underpin every type of library offer that there is. And, we want to support library users and the public in general with being able to access those services in their fullest sense, to really enrich their own experience. So we very much are about enriching lives through libraries. Lindsay, I don't know if you want to add any more to that about SLIC and what we might do. We work in partnership. I don't know, Lindsay, if you maybe want to talk about the virtual reality project that we worked in partnership with the BBC about.
Yes, I mean, in terms of how we are working to improve the digital skills and digital literacy, I mean, obviously that's a task that we can't do on our own. So a lot of the work that we do is kind of linking library services and partner organisations together, so that we are almost a conduit to allow these amazing programmes to be delivered through public libraries. So we recently partnered with the BBC to run some virtual reality roadshows in libraries across Scotland. I think in total we visited 10 local authorities a big focus for us was to ensure that there was equitable coverage across Scotland, so that you weren't only getting to experience a BBC programme if you were based in a big city in the Central Belt. So there was a lot of work done to ensure that the virtual reality project was taken out to rural communities and made it sort of past Dundee in Scotland and up to the Highlands. So this project was around 3 main streams of content designed by the BBC. The first one being around the Congo. There was also a programme around Doctor Who, and then there was a programme around the Berlin Blitz. And it was to give members of the public the chance to experience amazing quality virtual reality, probably on the quality they've never experienced anywhere else before. The BBC provided the headsets and the content, all wireless headsets. So again, something we've not really had an opportunity to showcase in Scotland before now. And the libraries were able to design programmes and advertise the events and have people in to experience virtual reality in their local library. And that was also really important to us. Again, as much as it wasn't just in the big cities, it also wasn't just in the sort of flagship branch in each area, that it was out in your local library, so you could have a really top quality BBC experience, but in your own town. And the feedback from that has been absolutely incredible. And I think that just shows again the role that libraries have to play. People see libraries as a place where you're going to come to have a quality experience and be able to experience something a bit different, probably something that you couldn't afford to do in your own home or afford to pay for, yet you're still getting the opportunity to experience that really exciting new and emerging technology and feel like you're part of that journey. So that has been a really successful project, and I think it's definitely shown us there's an appetite for libraries to be an avenue where you can explore emerging technology, and virtual reality is definitely an area that we want to continue developing.
I think as well, as well as I suppose nudging the envelope at the kind of the developments in technology and allowing the public to experience them, we could also see the library offer supporting people on a very practical level. And if I take one example, I was talking there about meta literacies and health literacy and so on. We work in partnership with the NHS in Scotland and the Alliance, which is a third sector organisation, and a range of charities as well to support people with their health literacy needs. And one of the very practical examples of the digital offer in libraries assisting people is around supporting people with dementia. And there's a charity in Scotland called Playlist for Life, which actually creates a playlist for an individual of music that means a lot to them, and can actually demonstrate that people who listen to music that mean a lot to them, it makes them calmer if they're suffering from dementia. So libraries have been able to help through their digital streaming service for music. They've been able to help members of the public create, so I suppose carers rather than people themselves suffering from dementia, create playlists for individuals, really at no cost, and take them away from the library to use as they wish. And again, that streaming of music is something that people are perhaps not confident to do, even if they do have Wi-Fi access at home. But in that environment in the library where the staff can support individuals, they're able to build their individual playlists and use them. And I think for me, it's that kind of practical thing that makes a real difference to people's lives, is really what we're wanting libraries to be in a position to support, in addition to the more creative and perhaps cutting edge offer that libraries are in a position to provide as well.
It really shows and sounds that Slick is doing a great job helping libraries, but then also the users, the library visitors. Examples you guys gave, you're seeing the visitors finding out new ways that maybe they never would have known unless they visited the library. And kind of in conclusion, too, I just wanted to highlight that the libraries are always seen as a place to learn, but I think that the underlying narrative that needs to kind of be brought up a bit more is that these are these tech hubs, because they are the safe places so that you can learn. And it doesn't matter if it's, something quote unquote basic in regards to, working your smartphone or tablet, or if it's something maybe more advanced like coding, that all these areas, there's something that you can learn, and you can go to the library to learn that. So I think that's very important. And I'm glad that glad to hear that the SLIC is helping develop these programs, and it's also helping training the staff there as well. So it's kind of bridging the gap in all areas. So that's really good to hear. And I guess in closing for you guys, is there any final thoughts that you guys would like to share on digital development in libraries, as well as if any of our listeners wanted to reach out to continue the conversation with you, where could they reach out to you?
I think in terms of the kind of final thoughts, I think one of the most important things that we've done in terms of digital development and off the back of the national strategy was set up a digital champions group. So now every one of the 32 local authorities is represented by a digital champion. We meet 4 times a year. It's facilitated by SLIC, and we do a number of things from inviting guest speakers to show them new ideas, new ways of delivering digital and new technology. And we also provide it as a forum for sharing best practice and letting people talk to each other and get advice from each other, and knowing that when they have a problem with digital in their service, that they've got a network of people that they know that they can contact. And I think that has played a major part in how far we've come in terms of developing a digital offer in Scotland, so much so that we're now, from what Pamela touched upon earlier around training in new technologies, we're now on to phase 2, if you like, of training in new technologies. We understand that technology is moving so fast, and that initial training programme is quite dated now, and having training just in individual devices is no longer meeting the requirements of staff. And that if we want to continue on this journey, being a force for digital development in Scotland, then we need to ensure that staff are trained accordingly, and that they feel confident in digital development and giving advice to the public on any digital issues that they may have. And the success of the Digital Champions Group has led to us appointing a project manager, project officer, who will work very closely with all 32 local authorities, and they will do sort of train the trainer training, so that all the digital development that is developed as part of this programme will come from in-house advice, if you like, and in-house comments, and all the programme that's developed will go back through the digital champions, so that we ensure that it's completely relevant for the staff that are out working on the ground, and that it's meeting their needs. And I think hopefully, given the design and the success of Digital Champions, this will take digital forward even further, and it means that all the digital development we do in future will be done with the staff in mind, and with the advice of the staff on the ground. So I think in terms of closing ideas from me, that is one of the most important factors in taking us forward. In terms of people want to get in contact, Pamela, just through our standard email addresses, or
or our Twitter handles. I echo absolutely everything Lindsay said, but I think we talk about digital as being something we're obviously focusing on, but I think we see it as core, absolutely core to what we do. It's not something different, and I suppose it kind of cuts across absolutely all library offers now. So it's probably more important now than ever that we're putting a lot of focus on staff training to make sure that staff are ahead of the curve, if you like. Mark, I'm still absolutely loving the term libraries as tech hubs, so I think we might hold that. We might well hold that. But they are safe spaces to learn, and I think that's that is a key message to get across, regardless of context. I presume, Mark, you've got our standard email addresses. Do you want us to read them out?
No, it's good. What I'll do is I'll share the SLIC Twitter handle and email address with the recording, so our listeners can get it. So don't worry about that.
Right. Okay.
But yes, thank you both very, very much for sharing your insights, both on digital development and also what SLIC is doing. I hope this inspires our listeners to bring some of these ideas and some of the points we've talked about in the discussion to their local library, to help grow what we can do, both in digital development, digital literacy, but as well as just working relationship with libraries and their users. So again, thank you very much, Lindsay. Thank you very much, Pamela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening to the Princh Library Lounge. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and spread the word to other library professionals. If you want to learn more about today's episode, check out the Princh Library Lounge website at princh.com/podcast. We will be back next month with the next episode, and until then, happy librarian!